When someone replied, "Drop another song with Eminem, please bro," to a JID post, there were indications that something was about to happen. And you wouldn't believe what transpired right after the user was going crazy. And JID genuinely loved the message. No way, dude. JID appreciated your response. And I swear to God, the user continued to use it. I'll lose my mind if JID does another Eminem song. With fire emojis and heartfelt sobs, Fuel has one of their best verses ever. And sure enough, we got one more. Today, we will examine some of the verse's highlights as well as some responses from fans, and even rappers who are having a hard time with it. In addition to offering some predictions about the future, Eminem didn't waste any time in reminding us of the reasons why he and 50 Cent are still good friends after all these years. If you understand what I mean. He quickly sang about how rappers nowadays are boring him, and I'm not comfortable with no conflict. I jump into beef so easily. I'm an animal of another kind. I yawn like a piece of wool because of you all. Aside from Eminem, he talks about how he's fed up with the mediocrity of today's rappers and is bored to no end. In that bar, yawn also serves as yarn. The master of homophones continued to perform his duties while adhering to the animal rhyme scheme and a strand of wool. And for those who believe that money transformed him, Eminem doesn't buy that story. He thinks he's been the same person all along. And no one has ever broken it down this way that I've seen. I signed 50 penny and placed him in my piggy bank, even though I wouldn't exchange 3 quarters, 2 dimes, and a nickel for $1. Additionally, 75 cents is equal to 3 quarters. A nickel is worth 5 cents, while 2 dimes are worth 20 cents. These add up to $1. Additionally, I am aware that this split is particularly beneficial to M's global fan base. To put it simply, Eminem would not change in any way. It is implied by the bar that even having hundreds of millions of dollars, he wouldn't change for them. Additionally, this makes me think of something Snoop said about Eminem in a podcast we previously discussed.
Like that is because that rapper is invisible for the moment. But that's a way to get him back visible when you start poking the bear. He still is who he is. Don't get it fucked up.
Who, Eminem?
Oh yeah.
And a few months back.
Additionally, we discussed Ye's narrative a few months ago when he shockingly revealed the song Cousins, and how he and his cousins found filthy magazines and played out what they saw. Additionally, Eminem chose to make mention of this startling animals revelation. Look at the chaos I'm creating, man. I probably stay in the hot seat because I act out scenes like Thee and his cousin using these mags, which also serve as ammunition in this case. Additionally, Thee and his cousin discovered the mags when they were quite little. Eminem used animalistic language to extend the double entendre. Now remember the illusion and the fact that they disclosed their youth. Additionally, remember the gun bullets wordplay. Look at this tiny knob. Stop claiming that your S***T doesn't suck, slobbers. I'm spraying and busting. That's most likely why you haven't heard anything new lately. And Eminem released a workplay album in this one. You're so ripped that it feels like I just walked in and saw you nude. Like a sleeping cow, my school clothes. In reference to the fact that he has been this way since the beginning when it comes to rhyming like a rap god. Since my socks were holes in them, I am bulldozing him since they were holy like a sleeping cow. Because he was impoverished and hollow. Socks wears holy doubles, which is a homophone for holy in the sense of being divine. Deserving of worship like a deity, a rap god after all. And your rule can't stop taking L's. He attempted to make fun of 50 Cent's impending stadium performance just days before, but 50 ended up selling out London's Tottenham Stadium. Eminem now had to unearth his body in order to rebody him. And I told you to slow your roll right after you finished rapping.
I ain't freestyling in a minute. Let me see, let's check it. Red Rose, White Ceiling. I'm in there.
Before you throw your entire career into a toilet bowl, I advise you to calm down. And like a brothel, he returned for Ye in my abode of horrors. I'm terrible. I put your rule through it like law school and kept it stacked high. The wall is filled with Belgian plaques. My walls are so filled that you would actually detest them. Even worse, Eminem is by far the most popular rapper in Belgium ever. They are all complete doubles for terrible. In reality, some users retrieved receipts to give more context regarding the total music sales in the little nation. The Marshall Mathers LP by Eminem is the only hip-hop album to have sold 100,000 copies or more in Belgium. It's obvious that Eminem remembers the early 2025 trending of this record, which was shared with this picture when it was announced that South Korea's president had temporarily imposed martial law. They call me Marshall, even though I am illegal, because Marshall was misspelled in the report, and we received this. One of my favorite lines from the verse is, erectile dysfunction. I'm a prick that's not to be messed with. Therefore, even if they so desired, the circumstances are already in place that prevent him from being FD. And Diddy is unable to get away with Eminem's suggestion that he release the song that killed Pac. Tell my hitter to hit him up, and I'll do it like Puff. You know that I put him up to it. So whack him up like I'm giving him the finger to a Tupac song.
He had got hit with Hit 'Em Up. I had to make the call to Biggie, and I said, we're not gonna respond. Somebody's gonna get hurt if we respond. Tupac hit us with Hit 'Em Up, and that joint was cold. You know what I'm saying? I was listening to that. You know, we were actually like on people's turntables. A DJ would play that. We would just end the party and just
take that off.
No, we would take the turntable. We would take your turntables. You played Hit 'Em Up. Somebody's gonna get hurt.
And even when people think Diddy is at fault, he has apparently been getting away with this stuff up to this point. You know that I put him up to it. For example, when he recently said, my middle finger to a Tupac song in reference to the Kid Cudi car incident. At this point, you could assume that Eminem will keep bringing up the claims that Diddy was behind the Tupac hit. And for those who missed the bar about how he wouldn't change for $1, even though he's got it like that, we've got more. Never compromise for fame and fortune. The rap game's Dave Chappelle. I will never play myself. 8 Mile is the closest I've ever been. And in the same way that they appear for Eminem whenever he releases a new album, every time we get a comedy special, Dave Chappelle experiences the same thing.
Came out, apparently they dragged me on Twitter. I don't give a fuck because Twitter's not a real place.
However, they are not deterred by the criticism. On this, we reached another one of my favorites. Jid and I resemble bestiality. We are animals. Eminem concluded that the GOAT had returned. I'm going to target anyone who has cojones or the gonads.
That's why he's there than me! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
And right. Additionally, consumers are attempting to take on more than they can handle right now. In light of this, we need a complete album, similar to Friday on Elm Street or Bad Meets Evil. Fire would be a Jid and Eminem album. And it's amazing how this came out right before some international rappers started talking trash about Eminem and were unable to even tie his boots while a YouTube tutorial was playing. We'll go into more detail about this bizarre conversation in the upcoming video. Returning to the subject at hand, Russ was out here on X reacting angrily to Eminem's Animal stanza. This world is not where Eminem is from, dude. Crazy. And a user added to this. He only needs to sometimes flex on a track to prevent folks from forgetting. And it's amazing because, as you may remember, even Benzino was going crazy over this on Drink Champs. Eminem's critics, for the most part, usually question why rappers and industry veterans always give him such high marks.
His fans, bro, his fans like him because he's white. They don't with us.
Let me try to make
Eminem. I dusted Eminem. Rap Elvis. Why do y'all give Eminem so much props? Why? Why do y'all like him? Because he's white? Is that it? What do you mean? Nah, like, what? That. Nah, man. Ooh.
A similar thing occurred when Dr. Umar asserted that Eminem's not African. heritage precluded him from being considered one of the best rappers. Additionally, he found it difficult to accept the responses he received from hip-hop veterans who sided with Eminem rather than him. And he became so angry at the veterans for not agreeing with him that he began disparaging hip-hop as a whole. Furthermore, the last thing a rational person, especially a writer, would consider when listening to a rap performance, such as the one we just heard on Animals by Jeed and Eminem, is the rapper's skin tone. The abilities are indisputable. Furthermore, the discussion has already started in reaction to Russ 2025's best verse. I don't care what people think, and I had to relay the information that Jeed gave us regarding these 4 Prelux tracks that weren't on the album. We are grateful to everyone who has helped us on this path to GDLU. Since this was Animals Part 1, it appears that we might be getting Busta Rhymes, Twista, or both on Part 2, based on this interaction between Jeed and a fan on X when he was questioned. These 4 will be on DSPs. The main album has another verse by M, correct? He said, "Nope," in response. I have 2 of the greatest fast rappers ever, LOL. And some people have added Tech N9 to the mix of Twista and Busta Rhymes. According to what we saw, some people are currently curious about how up-and-coming rappers maintain their hunger. After listening to this guy nearly 30 years into his career, and as we previously stated on X, they must limit themselves to singing and melodies, because I don't think Eminem's rap abilities can be topped at this pace. The best we might hope for is about equal, not superior. And after this was released, there were some more rumors that surfaced. There is no doubt that this year we'll see either a side B or a direct sequel to Slim Shady's passing. The narrative was never finished. A few days ago, I made the prediction that it will arrive in the upcoming 3 months. And after listening to the stanza, I feel more assured than ever. I also think that Eminem is obviously not finished with the retro voices, and I'm not the only one who thinks so. Eminem claims to have killed off Slim Shady, but he then drops a few more verses in the Shady voice, complete with skull emoji. If you detest the throwback voices, then hold on tight, because I think we've gotten a lot more started and addressed the criticism so far. Reddit is already seeing outbursts from some admirers. The new Jid drop was awful. I apologize to everyone. Fire is Jid. Even if Eminem is a fireball, this drop was terrible. It sounded like something from a lousy lab and had terrible beats. I apologize, but it wasn't very good. The user clarified that the lyrics are not what they mean. It's not that the lyrics weren't good. The beat was awful. You can't possibly like everything he releases. However, compared to, say, the reception of Revival, these users are obviously in the minority in this instance. What do you think about JID's verse on this in comparison to Fuel's? Because in my opinion, JID's verse on Fuel is superior to this. 1. And maybe this time some users had higher expectations. Wow, Eminem washed Jeed once more while yelling emojis. He keeps doing this, dude, but why? However, it's incredible that Jiddy can hold. However, it should come as no surprise that he was defeated on both. However, this is Eminem, and I think Fuel was a stronger album than Animals. However, this is merely my viewpoint, and I welcome yours in the comments area. Go ahead and leave a remark. I appreciate you watching, and I hope to see you at the next one.